Gunners, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye-ya, bye-ya, bye-ya. In a maneuver style and direct fashion, man, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support I've been getting lately. We're definitely going up, man. Now, you see the thumbnail right there? Show! ¿Sabes qué? You know what I mean? I'll let the wind blow on that for $1. No doubt about it, you know. But I wanted to talk about the women correctional officers, women COs, and this big perception about them. And, you know, hey, quietly as it's kept, I know if Mike Carnala hit me up and was like, hey, I'm going to go work at the prison. Hold up, wait a minute. You know, these bottles are trying to get up in it. There's no doubt about it. You know, a lot of these correctional officers that are women get knocked, right? How do they get knocked? Why do they get knocked? Well, you know the why. The why is when you got a whole bunch of guys that are doing a long time that have been sitting down for quite a while, man. Men will be men. There's no doubt about it, man. If there's a woman that can facilitate some type of whatever there is out there in here, it's definitely a righteous situation. And best believe, guys are going to constantly try to knock these COs. Some women are susceptible to it, and some women ain't. You know, some women got a strong backbone, a strong spine, and they separate business from pleasure. You know, a lot of them are married. They understand this is a job. They understand they're around a lot of gentlemen, a lot of men, and this is what comes with the territory. You know, when you're a man and you're a correction officer, you don't have to worry necessarily about going in there and a guy trying to fuck you. Sometimes, right? Most of the time, they have to worry about how they conduct themselves with professionalism and respect, and, you know, gain the respect of the inmates and the convicts that are in there. And a lot of the COs, man, are well known, have been around the block for a lot of years, have been there and done that, and know exactly what encompasses their job. They go in there, they do their holiday. You know, 95% of the COs are just there to do their job and get on. There are those very few that go above and beyond, and there are repercussions for their actions. They do suffer a fate. Not all times, but they know who to fuck with and who not to. Straight up, depending upon what yard they're on. But we hear all these stories, especially here on YouTube, about, oh, she got knocked or she got knocked. And of course, you see the chick on the thumbnail. She was out of Fresno County. I did a video on her years ago when it happened. You know, there was allegations that she cut the hole in the back of her pants and slid up against them bars, man, and let them bulldogs go to work, right? All dogs go to heaven, right? And she definitely looked like heaven. So you could understand that if a vato sees a chick that looks good or even looks halfway decent, he's on it. You know, it's the same thing like when you go to a club on the streets. You're scanning, homes. You're like the Terminator. Guard! Right? There she is. And you're on it. Now, of course, you have more options when you're on the calles. When you're in prison, there's not very many options. So what could be a 7 or a 6? In prison, she's an 11 or a 12. She's a dime piece, right? Chick that you would just walk and just keep on pushing and wouldn't even pay attention to. Now, all of a sudden, you're giving her all the attention. And best believe, a lot of these women enjoy the attention. Maybe they're not getting the righteous attention at home. Maybe their old man's too busy playing PlayStation 5, trying to get his 2K game up. He's not paying attention to her. So, of course, she's in a place where every man is going to treat her with a whole lot of loving. So that's what happens with a lot of these women. They get a job, man. And a lot of them don't go in there, you know, to start a relationship with the person. But it happens, you know, gradually over time. It can start as quick as, you know, just kind of a stare or a look, or, you know, the woman starts to see this guy and starts to understand, you know, maybe, you know, they got the inside shot on him. So they understand, maybe this guy doesn't get a lot of letters, or he doesn't got no lady, or, you know, they feel maybe they feel physically attracted to him. Whatever the case may be, there's a lot of COs that get knocked. Now, the one that was in Fresno County, the CO, I think she went in there for specific reasons. But that's just my perception of the whole game, right? I think she went in there to kick it. You know, she just looked like that type of woman. Now, don't think that I'm just trying to judge women on how they look. And, you know, I'm just saying, you know, if I'd have seen that, I don't give a fuck how many times she said, nah, I ain't trying to, I'm still trying to politic on it. What's up? That's it. I'm sure the Bulldogs were on that shit. And that's the reason why she walks differently. So anyways, I wanted to tell you guys a story about this CEO, right? And she was ugly as sin, right? And when I say ugly as sin, I mean she looked like that chick, I'm Optimus Prime, right? I don't even know if that's a chick. I think that's a guy that thinks he's a chick. I don't know, right? I don't get into those type of politics, but she was ugly. She looked like her nickname, we used to call her Mugre. She looked like a booger on a wall. Let's just say that. But in prison, she was a nice round 8, right? So people were really staring at her and giving her attention. And she was milking it. So there was a homeboy, man. He was a lifer. And I remember, man, I used to chop it up with him all day. Hey, a quiet dude in the cuts, was like a shadow, homie. I used to call him Storm Shadow. He was like the shadow in that motherfucker. You'd see him pop up on the yard. You'd see him at his holiday. I mean, he was doing his own program. You know, a lot of those lifers are like that in prison. They do their own program, man. You know, they got all kinds of classes they're taking. A lot of them are trying to do college courses, and they're trying to better themselves. Just because you're sitting down and you're doing all day doesn't mean you don't better yourself and educate yourself. You know, that right there is a good quality in a man, someone who stays constantly trying to educate himself regardless of his circumstances, right? So this chick, you know, she looked like a gargoyle. She used to get her gargoylization on walking around the yard, and everyone used to be like, damn, because she liked to be in the mix. She was one of those type of CEOs that if you guys are working out and everything, you know, she'd be right there licking her lips, walking up. So everybody knew she liked to play a little bit. Everybody on the yard knew she liked to play like she weighed. She was willing to go above and beyond, you know, her job, what her job was supposed to be. But I had never seen anyone knock her. So anyways, the homie that's a lifer, I start to notice this guy has a glow about him, right? He's a little happier than he used to be. You know, he was one of them gloomy dudes that just, hey, he was a victim of his circumstance. Sometimes he put himself in a situation where he's doing all day. And I'm going to keep it real. A lot of these guys, they have a good heads on their shoulders that are lifers. And a lot of them try to have a good outlook on life. But, you know, at the end of the day, when they lay in that rack, they're probably like, fuck, hey, I'm never, ever going to get pussy. I'm never, ever going to eat a steak. I'm never, ever going to, you know, say never, ever 10 more times. That's what they're not going to do, right? And it sucks. It sucks, but, you know, this is life. This is life, man. Life deals you a dirty hand, man. It's how you play it. So I start to notice he's a little happier, right? So I'll pull him to the side like, what's up, bro? You know what I mean? Getting at him. I remember he used to do bomb-ass tattoos. He actually did my whole chest piece. Facts. One of the homeboys from my neighbor, not from my neighborhood, but from my city, paid for on my birthday, paid for me to get my whole chest plate done. So he was a good dude, right? So I remember getting at him. I was like, damn, bro, you're all happy and shit. What, you're going to visita? You know, because usually when someone gets a visit after a long time or gets in contact with a family member or a hyena starts riding them, they got a little pep to their step. They're walking different. They're happy, right? Any little thing in prison, if you're aware and you know what it is, you could tell. Okay, you could see the differences. And so I'm like, okay, all right. And he's like, nah, bro, hey, I'm going to tell you something. Don't tell nobody. What's up? He's like, I got me one. I said, ooh, you got a bad one? She fucking sending the hell of money? He goes, no. I knocked her, right? And over there from the distance, I could see Mugre. She's over there fucking shining her fucking canine, right? I'm like, no way. He was like, the best I ever had. I was like, nah, for reals? That's because that's the only shit you ever had, right? He was like, no, you don't understand, bro. She's with the business. So they started an inmate-staff relationship, right? So this is what happens. He's doing his thing, man. They weren't on the level where he was having to bring things in. He was just happy to be in a lovey-dovey relationship. And there are those that do that. He's a lifer, man. You know, he already has a lot of shit going on. He's content. He wasn't a smoker, wasn't into drugs. That wasn't his thing. He just wanted the companionship. You know, he wanted to say that was his girl. When he started to get a little laxed and a little too outlandish and out there, and he used to tell people, oh yeah, my lady or my old lady, and the homies used to tell him like, hey bro, pensa, homies, you know, tell her to bring some frajos, a little phone action. But that never happened. So what happens is this other vato gets there and notices what's going on between them and hates. Ain't that the fucking world we live in, right? The hate is real. Hates for no other reason than this guy's having a good time, that this woman and this man, you know, are doing their thing. Now, most people in prison, they see what it is and they're going to try to get something out of the situation. Don't get it twisted, right? But this was a black vato, man. And he, you know, he used to be a pimp on the streets and his pimping hand was strong. So I guess he got at the chick noticing like, okay, she's down. She's down for whatever. Let me go see what I could pull up out of her pockets, right? So he got at her and she wasn't feeling him. Not because he was black or because of how he looked. She just wasn't into him. She was already doing her thing on the low. Only the homie was fucking so happy it wasn't really low. So anyways, she's like, nah, I'm cool. She shuts his shot down. And so he's feeling some type of way. So this guy actually writes a kite, man, and says, you know, he thinks there's an inmate-staff relation, whatever that he wrote on the kite. And the IGI comes and they snatch this chick up. They snatch the homie up, throw him in the hole, snatch her up. And of course, man, they do their little investigation. After they do their investigation, come to find out they break the chick, man. She starts crying and she's gone. We never seen her again on the yard, man. The homeboy ends up fucking getting transferred out. And that was that. And I always remember thinking to myself, why would someone want to go out of their way to fuck up something good that's going on for someone that doesn't have much? You know, this black vato that was there, he wasn't doing a long time. He had 3 or 4 years. Homie, you can't go without. That's get bone your celly or something. That's on you, bro. But leave what they got going on alone. You know, it just was a tricky situation. Anyway, so let me tell you about this one chick, right? So I'm in juvenile hall. I'm a young kid, man. This is pre going to CYA, all that. And there was a woman in there that used to work in this juvenile hall, right? And I ain't gonna lie, she looked good, you know, but I was a young kid. All of us were young, but she looked good enough to be like, hey, what's happening, right? As a young kid. Now, of course, she wasn't into no fucking chomo shit, so she wasn't gonna give anyone the time of the day, but it was something to look at, note, and put in your back pocket. So I remember I used to see her. She used to be real nice, always smell good, hair done, makeup. And I used to think, damn, why do they have chicks like this in here? But, you know, she was working around kids. We were young. We weren't supposed to be thinking that way. But ¿sabes qué? We were. All of us, right? So years passed. And I'm 18 years old. I done got out of YA, man. Mongolian dropped. I'm thinking I'm a gangster, right? And I'm cruising around the town. I got my first whip. You know, I remember, man, it was an 86 Firebird. You know, all beat up, primered and shit. But I thought I was cool, right? So I'm cruising around. And I see this chick, right? I see this chick. It was Easter. No, it was not Easter time. It was, what comes after Easter, man? It was one of them fucking holidays, right? Like Labor Day or Memorial Day. She's right there at a park with like her family. And she's got some little short shorts on and she's still looking good. A little bit older. She was in like her maybe late 30s by now, you know, 40s. Bomb, right? So I pull up, right? Sounding like motherfucking, how's that? It's like 6ix9ine going, hi, hang on. That's my sound. I pull up on the brakes and I see her and I'm like, hey. And I say her name, Mrs. Whoop-de-whoop, right? And she's like looking and then she sees me. She goes, oh shit, how are you, right? She recognized me. So I get off the car, you know what I'm saying? I try to poke my chest out like I'm somebody. I give her a little hug, right? Try to squeeze extra tight. And she's like, wow, I haven't seen you for years. How are you doing? And I said, yeah, I went to YA. And I started telling her little stories and, you know, where I went. And she says, yeah, I haven't worked at the juvenile hall. You know, they shut that one down, opened a new one. And it's been years. She goes, I worked for a little while at Sandy Mush in the county jails and whatever. So I said, well, what are you doing now? And she had moved on. She was doing she was a realtor. She was selling houses and shit. And so I was like, yeah, it's good to see you. So as I turn around, she's like, hey. I'm like, what? She goes, you want to kick it? And I'm thinking like the barbecue. You know, I'm thinking like, all right, post up right there at the barbecue and shit. She was like, let me give you my number. This is back in the days when cell phones are barely popping, right? So she wrote her shit down. So she was like, hit me up sometime. I was like, is that it? All right, right? So hell yeah, I'll hit her up. So that night, immediately, right? I give her a phone call. House phone and shit. Hey, how you doing? We get to talking, man. And next thing you know, it's 2, 3 in the morning. We've been talking all night. We're laughing. We're having a good time. There's chemistry there. Kiss me through the phone. I'm on my soldier boy shit, right? So I'm like, I'm going to bone this chick. It was one of my fantasies when I was young. I was like, damn, she's bad. No way, right? But I done grown up. You know, she done grown up. I done grown up. Let's grow up together a little bit. You know, I got something that grows still. So anyways, we kick it. And needless to say, the wind blew several fucking times. And I handled my business, right? And I remember thinking to myself, wow, you know, how could she do that? You know, I was young, but I guess now I was legal, like Bugsy Siegel and the Regal. Everything was good. But I started looking from her perspective, like, wow, what's she doing? But she's a woman, man. And women have needs. And if you're willing to facilitate them needs and you're willing to participate in the program that she's willing to participate in, well, so what if her husband was mad? And that was that, right? And Anyways, I wanted to tell you guys about another situation. So anyways, that played out the way it played out. We kicked it a few more times, and then, I got an old lady, so I had to get on down the yellow brick road. And of course, she had a husband, so she went back after I properly gave her, the hors d'oeuvre in a vicious way. Then she went back to, caca. So anyways, I'm chilling. And I wanted to tell you about a CO that was really getting it, right? So we're in the pen, right? And there's this white chick. And that's all I'll say about her, right? She liked brothers, right? She liked brothers, man, and she was definitely into brothers in a real way. And you would see this chick, and again, she wasn't the finest chick, but she was one of them ones that it was like, I wouldn't pass it up. If it's the only thing there, if it's the last one left standing, well, I'm trying to lay it down. So there was a homeboy that used to kick it with us. He was an Africano homeboy. He was a Norteño, but he was Africano, right? Black. And when I say Africano, I know there's a lot of brothers that take it disrespect. I'm American or whatever, right? That's just the way we talk, man. It's just slang for brother, man. For black, it's a respectful term, right? It's not meant to be derogatory. But anyway, so the homie, he starts fucking with this chick, right? And I think I've told the story before, but I don't know. I'm going to tell it. I'm going to go into it, right? So he starts kicking it with this chick or whatever, man. And I mean, it got to the point we all knew what time it was. They weren't hiding it, right? And she had a husband that actually worked there in that same prison, right? So little did the homeboy know, she worked in our building, but she used to work at the minimum, which was outside of the facility. There was a minimum building. She used to work over there. And of course, she had another vato over there. She was into them light-skinned cats, the filthy rich motherfuckers, right? The ones that look like, the light skins are winning, right? So she had another light-skinned cat out there in the minimum facility she was fucking with, right? So somehow, some way, man, what happened was the homeboy had this thing going on. This other dude knocked her, and she started to like that other dude that was in the minimum just a little bit more. So she started pulling away from the homeboy. So the homeboy was like, nah, fuck all that. And she was bringing frajos. I mean, we had phones. She was bringing a lot, right? So, we're trying to hold on like Evo. We're telling the homeboy, nah, fuck that, bro. You got her. You know what I mean? Threaten that bitch. Do what you got to do, man. We need that, right? And so blackmail her, extort her. We're cold, right? So anyways, this is what happens. The other dude finds out about the homeboy, gets at him harshly on the letter, like, hey, that's my bitch, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. They're fighting over a fucking fat CO. So the homie's like, whatever, man. If I see you, man, for the disrespect. Not for the bitch, but for the disrespect. Anyways, they end up getting caught up. This guy gets caught up, man, and goes to the hole, and they go to the hole, and there's a little investigation, and it's not on the chick. It's on some other shit, right? So she starts fucking with another dude, right? She just had the fever for the flavor. She had that jungle fever. She wanted some mandinglo, right? So she's getting her cornbread tossed, and her husband, who's a CO, right, snatches this black dude up, throws him in the hole for whatever reason, and is searching his cell. And when he's searching his cell, he comes across these pictures. And this guy has all kinds of fucking girls that have sent him like lingerie pictures, panty flicks, they're called in prison. Everybody wants them, right? And as he's searching these pictures, he notices his couch. He's like, damn, this guy has the same couch as I do. This chick is fuck. Then he notices the mole on his bitch's ass, right? It's his wife right there bent over his couch, right? Flips a couple more pages. Well, there's his dog, right? Needless to say, there was a big argument, man. And that guy ended up quitting that job, and the chick still worked there. I remember he tried to get her crossed out. They went through their divorce or whatever, man. It was like the big thing going around in prison. We're all laughing, man. I was out of state during this time, right? So it wasn't in the California system. But I was laughing, right? Like, fuck. Imagine you being a CO and you're fucking searching someone's cell, and there's pictures of your old lady fucking bent over your couch. You know what I mean? With your dog right there licking her fucking toes. That'd be bad, right? Anyways, there's been a lot of situations where the COs, women COs get knocked, right? And they're getting it in. Could you be mad at them? I can't. Can you be mad at the individuals that are doing what they does, trying to get at them? Nah, it's been happening since the beginning of time. It's going to stay happening. I have a homeboy, a righteous fucking homeboy. When I say a homeboy, he's my friend, right? He's a white dude, good dude. He actually knocked his wife. She was a nurse, a free staff nurse in the county jail. And I can speak on this story because, shit, to this day, they're still together and have several kids, right? He knocked her, started going to medical. It was what it was. Next thing you know, she did the right thing and quit her job, and they got married when he got out, and they've been together ever since, right? So there are situations where, love happens. You know, but in most cases, a lot of these CO women, man, they're doing it for emotional reasons or just because they want to have sex. Let's just be honest. And the guys, man, what do you expect? What do you expect? A man that doesn't have much? Shit, he's going to go out there and try to get it. Anyways, man, I hope you enjoyed the content of the day. With that being said, man, those are true stories, man, about COs getting knocked. Man, I could tell you a lot more, but that's, I don't want you to pinpoint the positions and exactly what was going on because I can't. You know, albeit it felt good, you know, not trying to get her caught up. She still works there. With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive to struggle, the struggle to strive. And, man, go out there and get it for your familia, man. Just a little comedy for the mid-afternoon. You know what it is with the gun. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's providing you the best possible content I can and staying aware, man, and hoping that the people do righteous. Bang, bang. The gun.